Hi, this is Susan with Tailored Expressions, and I was going to show you today how I made this card. It's kind of hard to catch it in the light, but you'll see a little bit better as I make each part. How I use dies and the TE embossing pad kit to create a unique look with the mandala cutting plate and the frame and frame cutting plate. So let's get started. So first off, I want to show you the sandwich with a Sizzix machine. This is what we use here at TE. This is also what I use in my own craft room. The Sizzix machine with the embossing pad needs to be on tab 1, which is the same tab as you would use for embossing folders. So that's kind of what I kind of tell myself every time, just to make sure I keep in my mind how to put my sandwich together. So for this, I put down the thick embossing pad and then the thin one. Every machine is different, so you might want to test with some scratch paper on your machine just to see if it's working and if you have enough tension. If it is all too tight and you're having trouble cranking through your machine, make sure you do not continue. Like, you need to take something away or take off a tab or take off one of these embossing pads and go down to 1. So for this little middle part, I'm going to take this frame and frame cutting plate. We took this earlier and we used this middle one. It's the second to the end. We use that to cut and get this shape. And there's a reason for that, because I'm going to take the actual die itself and I'm going to impress with it in just a second. But that is what we used, this die, to actually get this shape. And I'm going to take that. This is from of our Tailored Expressions cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and take that and I'm going to center it exactly where I want it on the die. That's because I want this die to impress into this. And I will often take a little bit of whatever your temporary tape is. I like purple tape. It's my favorite right now. I have lots of favorites for that, but whatever you have will work. Put on my hand, just kind of deactivate it just a little bit. And I'm going to center it right onto the die. I don't want to get this edge part here. I want to get just a little bit of that, so I'm going to go ahead and tape it just so that it stays in place, because I need to put the die side down going into this embossing pad. That will keep the die from actually cutting. So go ahead and lay that down like that. And then put my sandwich, the top sandwich, on top. And we'll run this through. And that creates an embossed image from the die onto our cardstock. So I love that look. This is our blue raspberry cardstock. It's one of our newer colors. I really love it. If your cardstock is at all cracking, that means your sandwich is too thick. If your cardstock is not really looking very impressed, then your sandwich is too thin. So those are just kind of some adjustments that you can make, because you can get away with just using just the thick pad on the bottom. You don't need the thick and the thin. It just really depends on your machine. So then also for the white part of this card, this part, I also have the frame that this originally was cut from impressed down on the bottom. So the last one that we did, we put our cardstock in there and then put the die side going down into this pad. You can also use your dies the other way. I'm going to take it for this one, a little bit of tape again, and I'm going to impress the actual shape of the die into the cardstock. So this time we are going to put the die side going up because we want just the actual shape. The other way is fine too. You could do it either which way, but I just wanted to show you can use your dies either way, die side up or die side down. But this one we're going to do die side up. This will, I'm putting washi tape on here and I'm fully aware that this will actually cut through it, but for now, that will at least hold my die in place. So I've got my embossing pad, my cardstock, and then the die. And this time, like I said, we're doing it backwards, so I'm doing the die side up. Push it through my machine. Set that aside and show you what it looks like. So that die, the actual shape of the die, impressed into the cardstock. The other way is fine too. You just would have gotten the extra lines from the actual die cut side. So peel this off. I want to skip should probably have skipped that just for time purposes, sorry. That is the impression that you get just from that. And this is the reason why I wanted that to fit in there just so. That's why I went ahead and used that. So I took our Groovy Guava cardstock, which that is my other favorite new color, the Groovy Guava and this Blue Raspberry. I think it's just beautiful together. Adhered them together, and then, like I said, I took this mandala cutting plate, adhered that. I might actually use liquid adhesive. You know what? I am not. I'm going to put down a strip of our black and white pattern paper straight across the middle there. Then I will take foam tape, Mac Daddy foam tape. Love this stuff. And I'm actually gonna pop that up. When you impress and all those grooves, it's best to either use liquid glue or I'm gonna use foam tape here to pop that up. Place that on there just like that. And then the last two things that I did to complete this card was I took our double-ended banner dies and I cut that out of Sugar Cube cardstock and stamped the congrats from Friendly Phrases. I used the stamp set a ton. I stamped the congrats in Oreo ink. Best used a Misty with this, but we'll try. That gets adhered with liquid glue. And then finally I took our Little Bits hearts and scattered them around on the card. And that's how I did that. I hope you pull out your dies and try to see what new life you can give them and which ways you can use our embossing pad to give them just a little something extra on your card. Hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a good day.